How did that happen? How did you and Don Rickles meet up?
I ask myself, how did a lot of things happen in my life when I lay down at night? And I'm not even kidding. I'm like, I would never write a book because I got the only thing. I mean, all the interesting stuff would be, probably not good for people to hear. But if I did write a book, it would be if you would have told me, like when I was a kid, if you would have told me that I'd be on the Yannis Pappas Long Day show, no, or that I'd be playing with the Beach Boys or on television or working with these great people, I just wouldn't have believed it. And Don is one of those. We were at a Greek restaurant. There was I invested in some Greek place in Santa Monica called Cafe Athens, and then he left and opened up Tony's Taverna in Malibu. Did you ever go there?
No.
It was a great hang, and Tony was a great guy. Still around, but he doesn't own it anymore. And we were at this Greek restaurant, and he was with a big party over there, and I was with a bunch of people over here, and we were not interested in the people we were with, and happened to be sitting next to each other. And he was with like Rowan and Martin, all those great guys, and I don't know. And we just started talking, and that was it. These older guys, and I've done it to a few. They love it when they're recognized by the up and comers or whatever I am. And you'll ask them to lunch and they'll go, yeah, for sure, yes, I'd love to. I mean, Don was a little later, so we started hanging out and started talking. And
were you a fan before you met him? Like you were familiar with him, right?
Yeah. Yes, I'd seen him a couple times, and I was into. I just maybe around General Hospital, Sammy Davis was on. And my and I said, who's Sammy Davis, Dad? And he said, yeah, I remember. And I said, I don't know what to talk to him about. He said, talk about drums, because Sammy was a drummer, right? And so I did that. And then it was great because I was the host of the talent show, and Sammy was singing at it. And there was a whole band set up, but I wasn't playing, and I was always bugging. I was talking about drums, and I said, I was always talking to the producers about letting me play drums. I want to play drums. And they're like, no. And he says, oh, okay, man. And then he walks back to the producer's booth, and he comes back, and I'll never forget. For some reason, he was very firm with me. He said, just do what I say, man. I'm like, what? He's like, just do what I say in the scene. I said, okay, Mr. David Jr. And then he goes. So I introduce him. He goes up, and he's talking about whatever he was talking about. And he said, play a little music. He said, Blackie, you play drums, right? And I'm like, and they cut, and it was total ad lib. And I was like, what? Yeah. And I get up. He's playing piano. And it was like, that's it. I played drums on TV ever since, 35 years ago.
That's insane.
And I heard that it was like, back then they would have monitors at the network, and I heard like, because we just went for like 20 minutes or so. They didn't use it all, but all the people were like, who's that? What's going on? Look, it's Blackie and Sammy Davis. And so I got to hang out with him a little bit. I think that was the beginning of my love for the Rat Pack and that whole era. I met Dean, and one of the Beach Boys, Carl Wilson, was married to one of Dean Martin's daughters. And so, and she was always saying like, hey, you want to go to Vegas and see Dad? I'm like, I don't want to see that old guy, stupid. But I did meet him once at, I was going out to dinner. The producer of General Hospital was taking me out to lunch to get me to stay, and because I was ready to leave after a couple of years.
Why?
Dear, if you leave, you'll never work again. So, okay, well, I'll take my shot. And Dean Martin was there, and I went over and said hi. It was pretty cool.
Wait, so you wanted to leave General Hospital?
I wanted to be on a sitcom. I wanted to do comedy. And getting back to all these comics, I would rather someone walk away saying he was funny versus he was good looking or something. I like, I know I'm not the funniest guy, but I think some people are surprised. You were surprised that I was
You are very funny. You've made me actually like gut laugh when we spoke on the phone yesterday, and you were telling me about the mug and how you were trying to pee in it. I mean, I was cracking up. Like, it was very funny. Yeah. And your comedic acting is like not something like even comedians can do well. A lot of times stand-up comics are not very good at that. It takes a certain type of comedian to do that. You do it very well. I mean, you're a funny guy. And what surprised me even more is that you're very good in drama as well. That Big Shot show was like drama. I mean, it had funny moments, but I mean, you're just a good actor, dude. You're good. I'm not just fucking.
Thank you.
Huh?
It's taken a long time to get it, and I fought for legitimacy for a long time, and then I just gave up. I was doing a play in New York. The last thing with James Earl Jones, right? James Earl Jones is arguably the greatest living American actor out there, and I was on stage with him. Angela Lansbury was in it, and it was a Gore Vidal political play called Best Man. Do you know that movie or show?
I don't. Do you know? I know Gore Vidal, obviously, but I'm not familiar with that. Yeah.
Did you have any? You guys do anything together? You and Gore?
Well, we got to. Yeah, we should have researched Gore Vidal before Stamos is coming on. I mean,
Anyway,
the last reference you'd expect to hear when you got John Stamos on is Gore Vidal, but it happened.
So my point to all that was that I was doing this play and it was getting great reviews and everything was great and I'm working with this great actor and I walk out to sign autographs and Uncle Jesse, have mercy. I was like, fuck it. I'm done. I don't care anymore. But wait, let's go back to the Rat Pack guys. So Sammy thing, Rickles. So we became, and then Frank. So, I guess we'll talk about the podcast at some point.
That's the big thing.
Okay. So Frank, we'll just cut all this shit out for the last
Well,
hour.
I mean, I'm only going to cut it out because your face is turned and people aren't tuning in to see the back of your neck.
No, I mean, the last hour.
Yeah, we're going to cut the whole thing.
Yeah. Start from this. So I went to see, so my dad, a part of my love too came from my father because he loved Frank and I loved Elvis. And he would say, he said, just go listen to Frank. I said, Dad, you're right. He's cool. What'd you think of Elvis? He was like, drug addict, he didn't care. So then I really did a deep dive onto Frank and and I was like, wow, this motherfucker's got it, man. And he was playing at the in Orange County and I leave this part out of the story a lot, but I was dating Paula Abdul at the time. And go ahead. And what's that?
You all right?
What's that?
I'm okay. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't hear.
What do you want me to? How was it?
Great. So, so we go to the concert, and we got a hold of the publicist and said, can we meet Frank Sinatra at some point?
Well, let me just ask you real quick. When you dated Paula Abdul, what was it like dating someone you knew you had more musical talent than, even though she was a musician?
That's not nice. That's not nice at all.
Sorry, I'm just kidding.
I said, do you have anything? And you looked at me with this blank stare. Would you Google some jokes? About
I just Googled it. I'm just kidding. I'm just joking.
She was the biggest star at that time, and
she was huge.
Knocking me down to get to her, and
whoever was the studio singer for her were big then.
She sang. Well, she danced.
I'm kidding, John. Come on. I'm kidding.
Don't joking. So we go to the concert, and they said, look, if Mr. Sinatra wants to meet you, he'll let you know. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? Is he gonna smoke cigarettes? So we go, and we just forget it, and I didn't even tell my parents. And then Rickles opens up, and I didn't really know him well at that time. I didn't know him, and he opens up, and then there's intermission before Frank comes out, and someone taps me on the shoulder. Says, Mr. Sinatra will see you now. I'm like, what? So we all pile backstage. Now, my mom has been telling this story for years that Frank Sinatra hit on her honeymoon, and she said, "Oh, how dare you? I'm a married woman," And she had to tell Frank that story when we went backstage, and she had a couple wines in her. Beelines to Sinatra. Jilly Rizzo gets ready to tap. I mean, he stopped her, but I think he was going to throw her to the ground. I said, Jilly. So that we almost lost Mom that night. But we took some pictures with Frank. It was great. And there's, I have like 3 pictures of him.
Did she get to Frank? Did she get to confront him about it, or no? She didn't get there.
Yeah, I think she did, but sort of as they were pulling her out, like, Frank, you hit on me.
There's no way he remembered, right? I mean, that's just one of the many, as he would say, broads.
And then I have a few pictures, and it's just him pointing to the cat. I remember he was saying, "Turn it sideways, do it over this way." Our heart, he's just pointing the whole time in these pictures. So this show is Frank goes out. He's great. End of the show, Rickles comes out, and as these old timers do, these great classic entertainers, they introduce everybody in the audience. It's Tony Danza, Paul Abdul, whatever. And then and Rickles is doing it. He says, Stamos, and I didn't stand up, I think, and he said, he's probably in the cheap seats. He's probably in the grass. In fact, he's probably smoking grass. Sinatra grabs the microphone from him, my hand to God, and says, "Smoke one for me, Johnny."
That's amazing. Yeah.
Hand to God.
That's amazing.
Yannis, Pappas. Yeah.